Jeremy's the man with a plan today.
Some kind of plan anyway.
Plans are dangerous.
Today is kind of the first day of the rest of my life as far as tattooing is concerned.
Is it really?
Well, yeah,
So
in
you're
a way.
nutsack then.
Well, I did a post about finishing my work last week, and I
Yeah.
couldn't even write that in the caption. It was like, I kind of sort of finished my work last week or this week with Rick. Kind of. It was very inconclusive.
And an angry mob emerges from the...
Well, people were like, are you actually finished, or are you going to come up closer? And I'm like, I'd like to come up closer. But what I didn't want to volunteer was, Rick doesn't really want to work that much closer to my junk.
That's right.
Right, like
I
it
mean,
was-
Who does, typically?
Well, do you have any no-no areas where you don't want to tattoo?
I mean...
My no-no.
If I need a female assistant to act as a fluffer while I tattoo, we've gone deep into the no-no zone.
It's hard to be fluffed when you're in that sort of area.
My thoughts exactly. It sounds like a hard day.
Oh,
Yeah.
I had
Boom,
some
boom.
I had some work done downstairs prior, just piercings years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was 2011. I had to go to Calgary and get measured first.
Okay,
It was
exciting.
a 2-appointment thing because they won't just take you in off the road and do that.
Put a hole in your...
Yeah. So I had to go to a place called Tribal Expression. It's like surgical in there. It's like a hospital.
Yeah.
And there's no laughing. It's really, really like...
Mm-hmm.
You
We take
walk
this
in.
crap serious.
Yeah, it's very serious in there. They
Not
do,
quite an abortion clinic.
No, they do scarification and heavy modification in there. And it's all good-looking women,
Mm-hmm.
but at the same time, anyone that's going to stick you with needles in your member, you're not too turned on by it, right?
Nah.
It wasn't like you were going to be having a good time or something. You know, it was like I had to be hard and soft measured for the procedure I was having done.
That's so much.
Really?
Yeah, I had to have both
Okay.
measurements taken.
Yep.
Because they needed to make sure the jewelry that they made for me was going to fit no matter what I did.
Talk about a sobering day. Like,
Yeah.
everything really out in the mathematical formula of the world. Here we are.
Yeah, there
that means it was done.
There
at a
goes
time-
romance.
That means it was done at a time where they didn't do both measurements, and they learned that someone learned that the hard way.
Yeah, someone learned that the hard way by that stapling is what they call it when you grow and your member is too big for the jewelry that's inside, and then the skin kind of tries to
Yeah.
push over it, but it's pinched.
Wow.
It can happen with your belly button too.
Oh, okay.
That's why when you get your belly button pierced, you'll often have to get your marked while you're standing and then check
Right.
while you're laying down too. And if you don't do both, then you end up with a stapling effect where the jewelry doesn't work with
Move.
how you stretch.
Yeah.
So that happens with your downstairs too.
Fun.
Oh.
I mean,
Oh man.
makes sense.
I always thought it was bizarre, like to imagine, because theoretically, the woman who measured me and I could have met in other circumstances. Say we were today on a dating website. We were in a similar ballpark of, this is a person I might have dated.
right.
Now
right.
imagine me encountering her later. Like, could you potentially then make that leap from you measured me, you know where I am, you know?
Hey.
Now you want to
I
take me for a test
I could
drive?
buy you a drink, but you've already seen my junk, so you want to skip the pleasantries?
Yeah, it's one of those, we've already crossed this intimacy, now I can never see you again.
That's right,
Like,
that's right.
It was really weird, because, like, I had a buddy who was like, oh, was she good looking? Like, you know, was she hot? I'm like, yeah, sure, she was hot. Like, whatever. She was a good looking
least
girl.
of concerns.
Yeah, I can't think that way.
Mm-hmm.
This girl's, in a few weeks, this girl's gonna stab me. Not once, but twice. Right? Like twice, because I was getting what's called double didos. So that's where 2 piercings are made at the front of the, or not the front, but the base of the head. So they go through the head skin.
Jesus.
And yeah. So,
So,
so anyway, most painful
level
piercing.
of pain.
Well, I've talked about this with a few people before. I think it was the most painful thing I've ever done. I still think it was.
Yeah, I would imagine.
But the problem with it is I was a lot younger then, and I'd had a lot less experience in body modification in general. So like my memory might not hold up today, but I don't really want to find out.
No.
It's not something that I need to put to the test. You know what I mean?
Nope.
Like, I don't really need to
good.
go find out whether I'm hyping that up or not. Like, we're with the armpit tattoo, right? Like, I don't buy the hype. I'm going to do this.
I didn't know what I was getting into today.
That hurts me deeply.
This is a lot of dick stabby talk first thing in the morning.
Love dick stabby talk. So,
Yeah.
So, no spots for you is dick. That's it?
Yeah, I'm probably not going to go there. You know, scrotumy, ball sacky things. Honestly, unless a girl is tattooed everywhere else, I don't think I need to be like anywhere in the treasure trail. You know?
Well, I posted that picture that you took last week.
Yep.
And I got a lot of people who were kind of like, you're done? Like, you didn't go all the way. And all I was thinking was like, I want to go farther, but you can't make somebody go farther if they don't want.
Yeah.
I'm going to talk to Rick today and see if we can cut it up just in the front closer, because the back is finished. I don't need to go, right up into, like, that's all done already.
Into the crevasse.
Lee did most of that work last year.
Yeah.
And Lee himself said when he seen the picture, I would have got right in there, brother. And I go,
Lee,
I
though.
know you would have.
Yep.
Because he doesn't care as much about that stuff.
No.
Like, he
That's the
would have done it.
European mentality.
Right. But just for the completion of it, right?
That's right. That's
But
right.
even for me, like, looking at it, I was like, I don't know if I'm done yet. But I don't think it's much more. I think it's like 20 minutes of like, you just bring it in on both sides in the front, and then it's done. Because right now we've got this uneven finish, right? Where it's like, it's going to need to be fixed anyway. We may as well.
But as I was taking the photo of it, I was like, oh, Jeremy's going to do this.
Yeah, in the
Like,
moment,
I
in
knew
the
it.
moment, I was like,
You were
I don't
like,
even
no,
care.
I'm good.
I'm done. I've had enough.
I'm never coming back here. See you later.
Well, I just been so sick of working on that stuff.
Fair. The last few rounds, especially, like, I mean, I think your last 4 sits have been, like, tough.
They've been tough days for all kinds of reasons, and not the least of which just getting to my final point of my patience with that for now, like
Fair.
where it's like anything else, tattoo anywhere else.
Yeah.
I'm just sick of that particular feeling right now, and it's not even that it's so bad,
Yeah.
because it's bearable.
Yep.
It's just when you get too much of anything, it becomes insufferable.
As an alternative, instead of stopping, we could do a 3-way collab where Rick, Kevin, and myself all simultaneously tattoo the finishing spots.
I've never had an experience getting tattooed by multiple people, and I'm
That'd
a
be
little bit
one way
upset
to finish
about
it
it.
off.
Well,
Why
I
not?
see people do it, mostly from Europe. People will just be like, surprise, I have 2 people tattooing me today. And I'm like,
Yep.
what surprise? How is this a surprise? Like, how did this just happen to be this way? Like, you didn't plan this? Because I've never had it where 2 tattooers
I
are
can't
like,
imagine it working well unplanned. There's no way.
right, and
Well, if
Rick
it's a
and
blackout,
Lee have
maybe.
talked about it before. Why don't we all tattoo one leg, you tattoo the other, and then
Yeah.
they both laugh, and then nothing like that happens. It's one of those. Neither one of them had the time to do that.
Well, it's Wednesday, which means you're probably getting tattooed today.
I am.
So maybe today's the day.
It's a possibility.
Today I'm touching up these skulls on my chest that Rick did, and they still have like the silhouette of the old skull because
Yep.
he just blacked over them,
Nice.
and they've been driving me nuts because like you can see the skull, but now it's black
Yeah.
because
yeah.
he didn't blend the area,
Mm-hmm.
which Lee was always really conscious of whenever he was doing touch-ups. He's like, I can't just black out that spot. I have to black out the whole bicep.
Yeah.
And at the time it seemed cruel, but now I understand the idea.
Yeah. You gotta smooth the whole thing out.
Yeah, it
hide
has to be
anything.
done.
Mm-hmm.
Or else you're just going to end up looking at that outline.
Yeah.
Right? You're going to see the old guy underneath. And that's what's happening with the skulls right now.
Yeah.
And then it's also happening with the spawn. He's pretty powerful. He's coming back to life.
Well, he's in there.
He's
in
there.
there, man.
But he's coming back. Like he's progressively coming back. And like all I can do is
Well, he is Spawn.
all I can
So.
I can't see anything else right now. It's like whenever I look at this arm, I'm just like, what the fuck, man? You were
It's gone
gone.
from tattoo to scarification.
Yeah, it's really, really scarred in there. But I'm gonna need to redo this arm basically to get rid of him.
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt that. I wouldn't doubt that at all.
That's where I was laughing when I'm writing the caption for that post. And I'm like, I'm nowhere near done,
Yeah.
but like, I'm done at the same time.
I'm done?
Yeah, like there's just so much shit to do still, and then I'm like, is it ever over?
Probably not.
You can get really meta with this and say, is anybody truly a finished work?
Oh, I usually do. I mean, that's the basis of my captions. They're always like I would never necessarily say the things that I write, but I would say them and they would sound more normal. But in a caption, everyone sounds more poetic.
They're so dramatic in a caption.
Yeah.
Especially your typical pose is very wistfully staring into the camera. You know?
Yeah. Well, and that's the culture of the internet, right? That's not any one person. But if you want to be a part of that shit, you have to play that way. Like you can't be the only guy that's like, oh, I just woke up and took a shit. Now I'm off to work. Like that's not your post.
At the same time, great post.
Yeah.
You know? Great post.
Well, points for honesty, and I'm sure there would be a smattering of interest.
In a time when humans hide all the real daily truth about themselves, you might actually get more followers that way.
Well, I strike a weird balance where my stuff is still kind of real, where some people are like, fuck real, I'm a fantasy character now.
That's right.
I've seen some people where it's like, you don't have any human thought. Like there's no semblance of reality anymore.
I'm plastic.
Yeah, plastic, beyond plastic, like totally manufactured. Sure.
Is that a new plastic alternative that's good for the environment? Beyond plastic.
I think it is good for the environment.
I can't believe it's not plastic.
I can't believe it's not plastic.
But
It's now served with fiberglass.
So we're going to be working on the chest, and then I'm going every 2 weeks now, which is interesting for me.
Big change.
Yeah, I don't know how I'm going to feel about that till next week. Because, like,
See?
I'll be free Wednesday after the podcast. It'll be like, I don't have to go get stabbed today. What will I make this day about? Well, I guess I did that a lot during COVID, though. So
Yeah, that's true.
I got some practice at it.
You'll be on a treadmill all day.
Not new.
Yeah, back to the treadmill.
Yeah, all day.
And then Dave, don't just get on the treadmill. You can't
still-
just live on the treadmill, man.
No, you cannot.
100 minutes a
I mean,
day.
you can, but then you'd just be rail skinny.
Yeah,
Your legs would break.
it's not really what I want. I do want to start going to the gym soon, though. Like, that's definitely in the cards. I've been saying it forever, but, like, now I can actually see it, and it feels, like, attainable.
Has anyone been to the gym post-COVID?
I haven't.
I feel like that's an unnecessary risk.
Really?
When A, my bubble's already big enough. B, I'm already like communicable with my work people.
Oh, I don't need the social aspect of it, but I do need to go. I don't find that I...
Oh no, communicable like virus-wise.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's just a COVID risk to go to the gym right now when I can do my squats and lunges and push-ups and chin-ups and carry on with my day.
Yeah, I hear you there. I just don't think I can get where I want to go at home.
Certainly not.
Because I want to get quite large.
Okay.
Like,
okay.
I don't know
I'm
if either
excited
of
for
you have
this.
seen
I'm
El
so ready.
Tattoo. I don't know if you've seen this guy.
Oh,
but
yeah.
He's the giant
That's what I'm
blackout
picturing.
tattoo guy.
I'm picturing that is your goal.
I always show that guy to Sarah, and I'm like, it's coming. And
Yeah.
she's like,
This
don't
is
show
me.
me that again. You keep
year
showing me
from
that.
now.
Stop showing me him. You just showed me yesterday. I'm like,
A year from now, I'm
And you
250
can't-
solid muscle.
Oh my
can't
God.
grow a beard, Remy, because he's got this giant black beard.
But
too.
we could tattoo a beard on you.
But yeah, and he's.
I mean,
full
we've come
bald.
close.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah. Well, this is. I always said if I could grow a beard, I might not have done any of this.
Right.
This is like my beard envy manifested.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It's the grisly face of beard envy.
I mean, it's way more striking. So
well, yeah.
fuck beard
it
guys.
is, but even
Hey,
even still,
especially that one.
I would
I know,
grow a beard tomorrow to wear it for 6 months if I could, and I don't care about all this. Just I would be happy to have the difference.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, I
I'll
always
be honest,
seen-
a beard is great.
I don't know if you ever watched Conan O'Brien, but like back in the day, I used to watch that shit. And when he grew that really fierce beard with like the mustache too, I don't even know what it's called, but
I
it's
believe
all
they call it a beard.
But it was certain. There's a particular style that
Sure.
he had, and I was just like, that's the style for me. It looked really sharp,
Well,
like
there's the-
gentlemanly, you know.
Yeah.
What am I thinking of? I'm thinking of the goatee that comes all the way down here. Was it
Yeah,
one of those?
but he had the burns too.
Oh, the
Like,
mutton
it
chops.
was the whole thing. It was
Oh
like,
no.
this looks sharp.
I think it's just that he was well manicured.
Yo, true.
I've never
'Cause
used
if
the
I
word
tried
sharp.
that, I'd probably look like shit.
Well, like I've seen a number of guys. Like I'm not gonna ever grow my beard super long because it gets uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Unless you, it's like with hair, right? Like if
You don't want to
past
get
a certain
Rick
point, it's like
full on like.
well, you see it with him too. Like he'll get it crazy down, and then all of a sudden he'll be trimmed back up. Because it just like, I don't know. Once you get past a certain point, it starts interfering with life. Namely,
becomes
like
a
this
bird's
area.
nest. Yeah.
Yeah. Because like you can't really grow everything in weird ways. Like you can't just do this. Everything's gonna grow. So
Yeah.
unless you get someone to trim it all the time and shape it, then you get to a point where you're like, oh man, I
Woolly
look
Wally.
homeless.
Yeah. You got crumbs and shit in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Storage.
Yeah, it's storage. It takes on a different sort of entity where it's
Chipmunking.
now it's not just Kevin, it's Kevin and the presents.
Yes.
You know, it's the beard. Beard is part of
I am a whole package,
yeah.
if you will.
Take it or leave it, ladies.
Yeah.
The beard ain't leaving. Me and
Yeah.
the beard are good friends.
Yeah.
A whole separate biome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
But I
got its
love
own
the-
biome.
That's right.
The beard guy where they'll have the beard for a long period and then they shave it and I'm always thinking you look like a fresh baby boy now, right?
Oh,
Like
yeah.
they got that smooth skin.
Oh, dude, if I shave my beard, I look underage.
Yeah, well,
I'm
is
not
that-
even gonna lie.
I always wonder if it's just because, like, so say if someone's seen you that day for the first time, but they feel the same way as I do, having seen you with the beard prior. Because, like,
They would say I look like a child.
do you think so?
Yeah.
Because, like,
They would say, "Oh, that guy's 16."
my
That's weird.
my vision of you is colored by Kevin has a beard.
Yeah.
So then when you don't, it would be like, ooh, you look like a baby boy again. You
Well, I
know?
mean, I can immediately age myself down about 15 years. So that is a blessing and a curse.
it's a bit of a
because-
superpower.
It is, yeah. Which,
Yeah.
like, I'm just saving it. Because, like, if I wait until I'm, like, 40 and then
Look
shave
30
it,
again.
bam.
No, that's a fucking.
Yeah.
You're keeping it in the bank,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, I'm just holding on to it for later.
Yeah. It's
It's
like
then I'll never die.
you're
how
lagging
that
in a
works.
race. You're just kind of chilling out in the back, but you've
Yes.
got this burst of energy you can use whenever you want.
Yeah.
That's pass everyone
Yeah.
kind of thing.
Yeah, and then
The
like
Benjamin Button beard.
yes, that is
Yeah.
exactly right.
Mhm.
Thank you.
That was a good movie.
Thank you.
I've actually never seen it.
Was it a good movie?
It
I
was-
looked at the ads and
you
I
know
was
what
like,
it-
I know what that movie is.
You know what it is?
I'm not
It's
gonna go see it.
basically Forrest Gump, but with a new gimmick.
Ooh.
Like it's
It becomes a baby.
yeah, it's the same, but it's the same kind of idea. Like
Right.
the
It's a
movie
story of a man.
structure is the same.
Yep.
I didn't realize that till I watched Forrest Gump again, and I was like, huh. They made this movie
this
again.
is-
Yeah.
This has happened again.
But there is this really striking, sad moment where, in the end of the movie, so he starts out very old looking, right? And then he gets to a point where he's middle aged, like Brad Pitt kind of thing, like 45, 50-year-old Brad Pitt. And he's with, what the hell's her name? Caitlyn. Whatever.
Jenner.
I don't know what that. Caitlyn Jenner. Now it's a progressive movie. Anyway,
Benjamin Button takes on a whole new
yeah,
meaning.
Yeah,
this
it
is what it
does.
would be today if we made it. Right, it would be that. It would be less about age and more about gender.
It could be more of a commentary about ageism.
Yeah.
Just wait. We'll look back at it and be like, yeah, age was just a construct.
So there's this
This
moment
individual was born as a 75-year-old man
Yeah.
and died as a 6-year-old woman.
where there's a moment in the movie where he's with this woman who was very young when he was very old, but now they're
Right.
meeting in the middle, and so they get married and they have a romance and whatever. They spit out a couple kids, but in the very end of the movie, she's an old woman and she's cradling him as a baby, and it's like a really eerie but powerful kind of. It has a bit of like a metaphor for what love is. I guess it's gonna change over time, and you'll be in different positions with one another,
Okay.
but you'll still love each other even in the worst of times, because she's pouring tears holding this baby version of a man she once loved and obviously had sex with. It's really like it's a really like complex thought that I don't think they play with enough.
Yeah.
Like they didn't really realize the thought they were creating there enough.
I'd never thought of those kind of like deeper parallels they should have been drawing on more.
Yeah, that should have been more the focal point.
Like
They
when I
just
think of
kinda
that
brushed-
movie, I think of the gimmickry of it all and
Yeah.
the complex physics and biology that just don't work in the thing.
That's where I think that if somebody more fleshed it out, like they took the time to develop that idea more and made it like a series, like
Then they
short-
could have made a more powerful point.
Yeah, that
They
point
could have drawn a
been,
parallel
like-
that was actually apparent to the average
Yeah.
person.
But do you
Yeah.
think that was actually their intention in making the movie, or what do you think they were like, hey, what about a dude who ages backwards?
I don't think they went as deep as I did.
I
is
think
what
their
happened.
intention is box office numbers.
Sure.
if I'm
So I
being
got
honest
Brad
with you.
Pitt and
Yeah, Brad Pitt, that at least gets us this.
Yeah.
and
and-
whatever the hell her name is. She's a big actress too. I just can't remember her name.
It's not Kate Winslet. It's the lady who played the witch in the Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, right?
I
That's who you're thinking of?
think I don't
man.
remember what her name is.
This is where we need the fact check.
Yeah,
That's
where's
right.
your-
We're gonna get an
fact checking
iPad
is
guy
really
real
important.
soon.
Yeah.
Catherine something?
Catherine, yeah, it's Catherine.
Catherine
something.
something.
Yeah, we'll go with Catherine something. That
Nailed
works.
it.
But yeah, no, I think there's a lot of really great dramas that were coming out for a while, and I haven't seen any other than maybe Joker recently.
Well, I don't
Oof.
think there's going to be any good
That was
dramas for a
so
long
good,
time.
though.
Joker was really good.
Oh, that was
People-
great.
Some people really didn't like it, but I just don't think they get it.
That was a movie made just for me. Like,
Oh,
I
I
really
loved it.
enjoyed the Joker.
Well, it's also like that's the most uncomfortable I think I've been in a movie.
There was a couple moments where I felt like standing up and clapping.
Yeah,
Yeah.
real talk.
Like, and I mean 2 or 3. I think for me it was when he shot the host. You get what you effing deserve. And then later, when he gets his smile, he stands on the car. I was like, oh, that's powerful. And then even more powerful was in the alley when Bruce's father gets shot.
Yep.
And the guy says, you get what you effing deserve, pal. Right? And he's been inspired by Joker, right? To defeat the rich upper class.
Yep.
I'm like, oh.
It ties,
Man,
yeah,
the
it ties in
poetic
so well
justice.
with the original not series, with the original storyline.
Yeah.
Ties it right in, makes it palpable and powerful. And there's not enough like depressing, bitter endings in movies
Yeah,
nowadays.
But
like,
but that wasn't it all in his mind?
I don't know if it was in his mind or not. I don't want it to be.
yeah,
'Cause,
like,
like,
I'm going
what
with that.
I don't know if they're going to follow through with it now, but listening to the director talk about it was that this story arc has almost nothing to do with Batman.
Yeah.
Even though they show it in parallel to Batman, like this Joaquin Phoenix character is a character, and there will be many iterations of this same kind of idea.
Well, they're talking about making 2 sequels, so I mean they could do it almost anthology style.
But like they might not be sequels, he said. They might
Yeah.
be origin stories again.
That's what I mean. Like they
Like,
could do it like
huh,
anthology style, like it's a new
Yeah.
Joker again. It's a
Because
new.
like the him having, oh man, I feel so stupid saying all this because I have no idea. But like, because I thought that this was like a story that he was telling himself. That's why he's laughing with the lady in the room. Like this is the joke that she wouldn't get.
This
was
is
this
why I
envisioning from him.
appreciate it as a one-off right now.
Yeah,
And if you do
because we have no
more-
idea.
Yeah, because right now you could go. I believe it's either nuts, or you could say it really happened, or
Yeah.
and he's now just locked up, and like you could go any number of different ways right
Yeah.
now. But if they branch out, then you can't anymore. Like,
Yeah.
Then they kind of give you a final answer.
Yeah, they tie you into
It's
it.
like if Shutter Island had more. Or
Ooh.
like,
Yeah.
what was the other one?
I'd still watch it.
The other one with Leonardo DiCaprio.
Inception.
Inception.
Yeah.
That's another one where you're like,
Yeah.
what really happened?
If he had just answered whether or not that stupid thing falls.
Yeah, you can
Damn it!
you can go either side and argue for days if you want. I mean, I wouldn't recommend it,
No.
but there are people who still do this
Yeah.
for some reason.
Well, it's fun to theorize.
It's fun to theorize, but after a certain point, you shave and you go to work. You know what I mean?
That's
You're
it.
supposed to
No,
leave your
you
house.
don't. You just leave your house with a beard.
Or you yeah, you just keep your beard. Yeah.
And then you also go to work.
So
But
if I
that's
don't
part of the
shave,
entertainment value, though.
I
Part of the
get-
entertainment value is to keep you guessing.
Yeah.
The movies that you are sitting there thinking about 2-3 days later are the ones where at the end you're like, God damn it.
That's where
I
you go
don't
and
know.
you look it up online and shit. You spend
Yeah.
extra time thinking about the movie.
Or the ones that were like oddly personally traumatizing. Like Butterfly Effect got me. Like 4 days later, I'm still
Yeah,
like,
that was
fucking
one.
Butterfly Effect
I remember
got me,
that.
buddy.
Yeah.
That must have been the best thing Ashton Kutcher ever did. And
Real,
Yeah.
for fucking sure. That shit was nuts.
not
Yeah.
to poop all over him, but like that was a good movie.
But I mean, name one other thing.
I can't name anything else other
Yeah.
than that 70s show.
Oh, there we go. That's the one.
But
Isn't it crazy that dude is like a tech investor?
yeah, he's on
Like
what,
he's
Shark
worth
Tank
hundreds.
now?
Yeah, he's like worth hundreds of millions of dollars because he's an
sakes.
angel
I
investor
think that the problem is
in
like I
different
don't.
technology companies.
If you've been famous already, it's
Like, that's
easy to
Kelso.
become
Yeah.
more wealthy. I think.
Sure,
It's
yeah.
also easy to not. Like
It's also really easy to invest in the wrong things.
Oh,
Sure,
sure.
and
yeah,
lose
yeah.
all your money. So
Well, and I guess my guess is he probably hit it on the head with one,
that's right.
and then that enabled him to do more. And
That said, maybe he got a couple lucky guesses and then said, "Oh shit, I got lucky." Went and learned how to pick the right things from then on,
Yeah, that could be.
and then made it a habit to
Or
make
he's-
educated guesses.
or he has like capital in a firm, and
Oh,
the firm
I guess
makes the
yeah.
decisions.
If you're
and,
famous and have a lot of money, you
Yeah.
just be like, "What should I do, bro? You read all the books,
Yeah.
all the news articles.
Yeah.
Tell me where to put this."
I think it's
Warren
probably
Buffett.
for the best that he did, though, because as I said, what else good has he done? Right? Not
Fair.
much.
Touche.
So maybe he didn't have as much time in the limelight left as
Yeah.
a lot of people.
Yeah.
Where it's like, Ashton Kutcher, So maybe he did the right thing getting out of all of that and into
Probably.
something more sustainable.
That said, if any of the three of us had a single payout from one Hollywood movie,
Yeah.
we would be able to live off it for the rest of our lives.
I know.
Like that's the thing is, have you ever looked at it and gone, well, what if you
Well-
split that up over 20 years?
Yeah.
It's like the
Oh,
lottery
shit, I can
thing,
live
though,
forever
right?
on this.
'Cause, like people always be like, I'm just gonna buy this shit and this thing and get this house, and then before long it's like, well, there goes all my money, right?
Dude, $10 million, I live on that for the rest of my life.
I know how I would.
2%.
I know how I think I would
2%
use
interest.
that. But like,
I-
it seems like when people get a giant financial upswing, they don't do anything that makes sense.
I really love.
Yeah, probably.
I really love the what if you win $1 million thing, or what happens to people who win the lottery and they blow it all on something stupid. I think the really fun turn of phrase that brings you back to all of this is that if they were good with their money, they wouldn't have been gambling in the first place.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's the real
And
bottleneck
then
here.
they're
We
just
go,
gonna keep gambling.
oh yeah,
You know?
the average person that wins the lottery, it's not their first time fucking flicking a scratch
why I think
ticket
they-
or getting numbers.
They know that money's going right back into everything,
Oh,
right? Like
goodness,
it's
yeah.
gonna stimulate the economy more.
Sure is.
Anyone who wins that jackpot, which is much less than what's paid to get
Yeah.
to that number,
Yeah.
is just gonna put it right back in anyway.
Oh yeah.
It's not like they're really they're gonna keep it in an offshore bank account for
Yeah.
Well,
4 years or something.
And that
40
$30
years.
million is not only their product. It's not only them spending on their product. That $30 million that goes to that person, that entity, whatever. That's also their advertising. When someone wins $30 million,
Yeah.
that's everywhere.
Yeah.
Lotto, 649, Max, or whatever is plastered all over the place. And everyone goes, maybe I can get that.
That's why you see there are lottery tickets wherever you go.
Mm-hmm.
But when was the last time you ever seen an ad for them? They don't need an ad.
No, they
What
sure
would
don't.
they need an ad for? Right? Because as soon as someone wins, they're gonna be like, "Oh my God, so and so from this town won it!" All over the news stations, and then it's all of a sudden that gambling is relevant again. You know,
Yep.
it's like everybody thinks that they can win once they hear about somebody winning. That could be. My dad used to do that.
The funny thing is you just said the term, suddenly gambling is relevant again.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, in every city, there's a casino or more. In many bars around every town, there's VLTs. We're just the wrong demographic. We're just individuals who
Sure.
aren't into gambling.
I think the problem.
But there
with
are
it
people
is,
whose lives are run by that
oh, for sure,
shit
and lots
every
of people
day.
work at casinos
Yeah,
too.
man.
But like, I think the problem is it seems more tangible to a lot of people that they could win some game than struggle to get up the ladder. You know what
That's
I mean?
right, that's right.
Like it's like, why would I work this hard forever and hope to get anywhere, and I could just potentially win this?
Yeah, yeah.
right?
Well, I mean,
Like,
that's also every story we have.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Every story has the heroic character that has this thing. You know what I mean? You get this hero arc that everything goes I mean, for the most part, everything goes the way that they want it to, in which case we look at that and we go, well, I'm the main character of my story, so
Everyone's
I'm
the
going to
main
be winning the
character.
lottery.
Thing.
This is where I hit my huge break, and my story changes, and then the credits roll.
Meanwhile, the movie's actually just following the one hero through this whole thing. There's a million other people off of the side that are still cleaning toilets or going to their
I have
office
a
job.
Great story my old coworker told me about. He was standing in a long line at a McDonald's one time, and he gets to the front of the line after standing for like 20 minutes waiting, and there's this like whatever 16, 17-year-old cashier talking to this lady, and she's like, and make sure my fries are fresh. I want the fresh fries. And I guess he leans over his shoulder and he says to her, yeah, sweetheart, we all want the fresh fries. And that's such a perfect example of like, everybody thinks they're special.
That's right, that's
I'm
right.
the only one that matters here.
Yeah.
Give all these guys the old fries. They'll eat them.
Yeah.
Not me, though, right? It's like, who has ever got to the front of the line and go, yeah, I'll get those soggy fries.
Yeah, give me
Yeah.
everything that's
Yeah.
stale,
Make sure you give me the oldest ones on offer, right?
because this is McDonald's, and I know what I'm getting.
Yeah, well, where are you, right? You're at McDonald's,
Yeah.
you're standing in a line. This guy doesn't care who you are. He
No,
doesn't even
not at
want
all.
to be here.
Do you think there's a button in his little computer that says, use the fresh ones?
Yeah,
Don't
yeah.
use yesterday's
He's gonna
fries.
go back there and make sure that cook gets
Yeah.
your fries fresh.
He's going to go
None of these
personally
people care about
pick
your...
each of your French fries.
Yeah.
One at a time.
Yeah, they're hand selected.
Well, and they're always like, you have to care about customer order or something, right? It's like, these guys don't care. They don't want to be here. They just want to get paid.
well, I
and
mean,
fair
Literally
enough.
hourly.
Yeah,
They're making 25 cents a minute
yeah.
to stand here and listen to your crap.
To get treated like shit by some lady who wants fresh French fries.
Yeah.
Like, this is the most important thing that's going to happen in her day.
Guess what, Eleanor? Sarah doesn't give a fuck.
She doesn't.
Not at all.
And there's no force in the universe strong enough to make her.
No,
Either,
no.
right?
can you imagine being in that job and caring? Like, what if you were in that job and you were the
See-
guy that was like,
See, I'm that guy.
Their
I'm that
managers
guy
are
who
checked
would've
out.
cared,
yeah.
and it would have been a shitty time. I'm glad I was never in that
Yeah.
position.
Well, when you're
because-
16, though, you're allowed to care. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, because like I would never fault someone that was like really passionate about whatever it is they're doing if they're younger. But you know, as you have to be able to see what it is at the same time.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I'm working at McDonald's. I probably shouldn't care as much as I care
But
currently.
at the same time, like, McDonald's started out as a mom and pop's thing.
Yeah.
If you go back far enough. At some point, they were a family
Owned by two
run.
brothers.
Yeah. And so how do we get from that to this situation with
Yeah.
the fries? You know, it's a long, winding road and decline of quality.
Because-
Did you ever watch
Because-
that the founder thing?
Yeah, because now McDonald's is a real estate leasing company.
Yeah.
That's
Right.
how.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Like,
I
it's
understand. But
Taking
like,
the weirdest corporate
but like,
twists.
if you were to reverse engineer it all, could you get there again? I wonder if that same place in a different universe would have done it, or if it would have been someone else. You know, that stuff fascinates me.
I feel like if you're in your 10th franchise trying to hire young kids at minimum wage these days, it wouldn't fly.
No.
I think they've built up enough bureaucracy around the situation now that these kids don't have to care. The McDonald's thing still just works because everything is so formulaic and
Right.
so established. Doesn't matter as long as Sarah comes in and pushes these buttons and pays half an attention and tells the old lady, "I'll do what I can for your fresh fries."
Yeah.
Then the McDonald's is going to keep on rolling.
Well, they don't have the same lottery that we do, or that we did, I guess. Their lottery is digital. Because like any one of these kids, the likelihood of them getting success in the physical world is way less than getting success in the digital world.
This
They're going
is
to see
it. This is
people.
what I'm always rambling about.
Yeah, they're
The
going to
new
see people blowing
entrepreneur.
up in YouTube and
Right.
making millions of dollars and all that stuff, and that's far more attainable because they're going to see way more of them, right? Because like if you're going to see every YouTuber and
Yeah.
go, "Oh man, there's YouTubers everywhere. I'm going to do this," whereas like here it would be like, "Oh, a lottery winner." You're going
Right,
to see
right.
one every once in a while, and that's going to stir some people in like our generation and older to buy lottery tickets.
Yeah.
But for most kids, it's like, oh, I'm going to do a TikTok dance.
The problem
Right.
with that is and this is where my experience with this shit comes in.
Mm-hmm.
It's like it's easy to see that and think, oh, it looks glamorous, looks amazing, they must be doing so well.
Yeah.
No, they're still grinding. They haven't
Yeah.
achieved anything yet.
Yeah.
They won't achieve anything for a very long time.
Meanwhile, the more likely avenue to a financial success to a personal success of it would be to go out and start a snow removal and lawn mowing company.
For sure.
Or offer some tangible service with an established business model.
Yes.
Because the internet success being similar to a lottery is actually quite apt.
Yeah, it really
know?
is. And you have to be interesting too.
That's
That's another
yeah,
thing.
good
And
luck.
a lot of people aren't.
Yeah.
And I don't mean to be rude, because everybody has something to say. Really. I've never met anyone that had nothing to say. It's just that
I have.
I was
some
gonna say.
well, some people have said like the same thing as others. You know what I
That's
mean?
right,
Like
that's
where it's
right.
like, yeah, your story's kind of interesting, but so is Bozo down the road.
Yep.
Right? Like you have to be a real outlier to make any kind of an impact
Big
anymore.
time.
So because like we got the sea of people trying to fit through a hole in the wall this big, and it's getting smaller every day.
That's right.
Reach potential's getting
Well,
less.
The hole is
Saturation.
getting a little bit bigger, but the amount of people trying to squeeze through that hole
Oh,
is
it's-
getting larger exponentially.
Well, yeah. So by comparison,
relative to each individual, that hole, their chance to squeeze through that gap is getting infinitesimally smaller each day.
well, I had a guy comment on a thing recently. He didn't name me. It was like a blackout tattoo page thing, and he was like, a lot of the people on here are. They've got clothing lines and a podcast link and blah, blah, blah. And he was basically talking about me. And he was like, I just wish they'd be more sincere about their methods when they're writing these captions like they care about. I'm like, well, it's not like he's wrong, but at the same time, it's like this is all part of that hustle.
Yeah.
You have to do this stuff to go up the platform.
It's modern day entrepreneurship.
That's what I always say, right?
Yeah.
So, like, yeah, sure, call it what it is, but what's wrong with that?
Well, I don't think people like entrepreneurs in regular life either, because
Fair.
like entrepreneurs, they scratch at an itch for people of those are people that are getting out and doing it,
Yeah.
and a lot of people live in the someday. You know what I mean?
A lot
Like
of people live in the salary job where this is what I just do for the next 6.5 years
No
until
exponential growth to
yeah,
it.
that's
It's
right.
just-
Where
it
they
is what it is.
They see you taking risks, opening yourself up to opportunity,
Yeah.
and they know that they don't have the life circumstance or the balls or whatever it takes to take on some of that risk and open themselves up to their own potential unleashing.
Yeah. Well, and this is where, like, I'm getting weird opportunities all the time, and I'm taking a handful of them.
That's
right.
right,
And you
that's
almost,
right.
I was telling Kevin last week, I almost have to be my own agent now, where it's like, there's so many bullshit offers and stuff, and if you do too much of it, you're gonna look like a phony, and if you do too little, you'll never go anywhere. So,
Forget all of those offers and come work with us. Our offer's good. Theirs are crap. End
Yeah.
of story.
well, and I want
exactly.
to, right? But this is where I'm going up. In my opinion, I'm still making bridges in the physical world too.
Yep.
Right? Where some people are just like, I'm just going to focus online, and then that's going to take me where I want to go.
Good fucking luck.
I think that what you want to do is have your social presence embolden your physical presence. You know what I mean? Like it work for you rather than letting it consume your whole world.
Yeah, then there's less chance of
So
losing who you actually are anyway.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because
Like-
like it's very easy for me to kind of like separate identities, like
That's it.
physical and social identity, right?
Well,
Like
right
in
now
the-
I have a chat with you for even 10 minutes, or any individual who doesn't know you personally can have a chat with you for 10 minutes, and quickly come to see that none of your content is disingenuous in any way.
No.
That is just you.
Yep.
Here you are. You might fluff it up a little more. It might be a little more poetic, like you
Yeah.
said in an actual post, but that's still you. It's not disingenuous in any way.
Yeah.
But the more that you shift from having a real life and being more and more focused on your online content, the less and less that line is clear, and the easier it is to become disingenuous and be creating content for the sake of content.
and past disingenuous to a point of pure fantasy, where
Yeah,
it's not even
Lord.
disingenuous anymore. Now you're not even who you are anymore.
Mm-hmm.
You're just you're almost like a an imaginary character that
Yeah.
has been. It was at one point you, and now it's been tweaked and then tweaked and tweaked into a point where it's pleasing the most people possible, and there's no shred of humanity to it anymore. Or even going another way is like me and Kevin were talking about one week with the digital avatars. Like this girl, she's just a shark girl. Her whole content is shark facts, and she looks like a shark. Right?
I mean, at the same time, if you made 10 of those personas and created a formula that could get viewership from 17 to 21-year-olds, male, female, whatever.
Yeah.
If you found a demographic where that worked, you could have Shark Girl, you could have Fox Boy.
When we do.
You could have Turtle Hat Kid.
Sure.
And all of a sudden,
Turtle Hat Kid's so dope.
Whatever you want.
Whatever you want.
It's out there.
Suddenly, that's a successful business plan.
It is. But this is where I want to be a human still.
Oh.
Right? I still want to be.
That's where you and the internet are not going to get along.
Right. So I still want to be.
You're really limiting yourself.
Yeah. You got to take that out. You got to take that out of the equation.
Yeah.
Man.
Have you heard of The Sims?
Yeah,
I
exactly.
don't believe in can't.
Like
Yeah.
I kind of want to straddle a line of like a real person, but also be online, and that's hard to do.
Listen, if you're not willing to forsake your values for money, I don't see what we're doing here.
That's what my brother was saying. Like, you got to forget all this shit. Just take everyone's money.
Take every
Just
dollar.
take everyone's money.
That's right,
Don't
that's
be.
right.
Don't discriminate. Just take it all.
Sell your soul. One word of advice. Do it now.
Just do it. Take everything. Take it, creams, ball caps, anything. Just
Yep.
take it all. It doesn't matter. Just trash your image. Who cares? And I guess I think that's a short-sighted way to do it.
Yeah, of course.
I mean, when Skynet takes over, it's not going to matter anyway.
Fair enough.
So whatever.
well, I think it's branching back into security, because like every little like money grab or that kind of thing where you're like, oh, I'm going to do this because it's going to give me X, whatever it is, and then that takes a little bit of the self ownership off the table. You know what I mean? Like, oh, now all of a sudden I'm beholden to this. I'm beholden to this.
For long, your whole presence is just hawking crap.
Well, before that, you got a job now.
Yep.
Like if you take enough of those things, all of a sudden you got a boss.
Yep.
Like even the Joe Rogan thing in Spotify, like I get where he's coming from, but if he liked the feeling of freedom, that's slowly going to get chipped away.
Yep.
Like because there is a large amount of money that he said yes to, and that even though I'm sure his terms are great, they still came with terms.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of like, how much do you balance that? And if you are this unique individual that wants to be kind of self-authoring and like an entrepreneur spirit, you went into that field to not have a boss, right? To be your own owner and like pursue that way. So like how many of the more like regular life things do you start saying yes to, and all of a sudden you're no longer an entrepreneur, you're just some guy that works for all these companies?
The classic catch here, though, is that $100 million
Oh, it sounds great.
buys you a lot of freedom.
Yeah,
At the
100%.
end of said contract.
But like, how
Yeah.
much money must he have had already?
Well, like that podcast, if I understand it correctly, now that's a business, so obviously he's going to have some costs involved in it, but they can't be anywhere close to what he's making.
Oh God, no.
But it was somewhere in the neighborhood of $30 million a year.
So, did he need the $100 million
No,
at that point?
Does
No,
anybody
it's,
need
I
$100
guess,
million?
Who cares?
But
though,
like-
right?
like
Just take the money, I guess. But
like you heard Elon talk about capital, right?
yeah,
Like where like they give him this value of $100 million, and all that means is he has the ability to assign capital to different areas,
exactly.
right? I don't think it's about money at a certain point. I think it's about like that money represents
What you're talking about is
being
power
able
right
to
now.
do stuff. Yeah,
Yeah, which is a pretty scary
influence.
paradigm.
yeah.
Yeah.
Because like with Rogan, it's like, okay, well, all of a sudden this money, they've placed a monetary value on this, and it allows me to assign it somewhere. Because it's not like he's going to take that, put it in the bank, and just do nothing with it, right?
Best
like
case
he's gonna.
scenario, he's rich enough to run for president now.
I don't think he wants to.
I don't think he'd get his
I
hands
think
dirty
that would
with
be,
that.
for him, that would be the worst thing to do,
Yeah.
because the media would eat him alive.
They already
yeah,
hate
but
him.
who cares?
But
They already-
please,
you know, like-
please do that. That would be great.
like they can try and eat him alive, but like the only thing that
I'm
I've
just saying the
noticed.
stress. I understand my own levels of stress, and running
shut
for
your phones
president
off.
would be a shit ton of stress.
Shut your phones off. Don't do any of the
Here's the
interviews.
thing.
You can't
One-
shut your phones off
okay.
when you're president.
So
Sure
if
you
you
can.
if you
Come
care
on.
about that shit now, if you get more of it, you'll care about it still. But
Yeah.
if you don't care about it now, it doesn't matter how much more of it you get, you still won't care.
Yeah.
Like, who was it? Lex Friedman was on there the other
Yeah.
day, and he was whining about comments nonstop.
Yeah.
Now, I do bring up comments, but I laugh about them. I find
Yeah.
them funny,
Mhm.
right? Like, who would ever dated a thing like, you know?
Yeah, it's hilarious.
But, like, I barely look these days, but when I do, it's always like, a ha-ha.
Yeah.
You can't, if you let that stuff get to you, it doesn't matter how much of it you get.
It's going to continue to get
Because,
at you.
like, yeah, it's going to keep getting you. But
Yeah.
if you just go, oh, well, whatever, people are dicks. They're going to say
Yeah.
what they're going to say.
Yeah.
Because, like, he's talking about curating feeds so that you don't see negative comments anymore. So that
I don't
they
know
get-
why you'd ever want to not see, like,
How about just show what people want to like? You know,
Negative feedback is still feedback.
Yeah.
For sure.
And still has inherent value.
I have
There's
more
no way
negative
around that.
feedback than positive feedback, bro.
Really?
For sure. My TikTok is like a flaming garbage pile of hatred, and I love it. I love it. And it makes content for me on there
well,
because
if you
I
had
can
never
use-
looked at the comments, you wouldn't have found that great phrase.
Right, and I made a follow-up video to that phrase that also went viral, where
Yeah.
I was just like, I was feeding the joke,
Yeah.
right? Like, I wasn't hurt by it. I was just having fun with it.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, like, when I engage those comments, it's never like, oh, you've hurt me and you're a bad person. It's always like from an
Humorous.
absurdist, humorous kind of like,
Yeah.
well, yeah, okay, that's hilarious. Like,
Yeah.
good on you, right? So I think if you're gonna look at all, you have to look at it almost outside yourself. Like, take yourself out of it and appreciate what it is to some extent.
Well, that's like life. That's
Right.
That's Buddhism right there.
Well,
You
I
have to be
mean,
the
we
observer.
can't be that godlike, obviously, but
Why
like
not?
we can try, right? We can try.
Yeah, that's fair.
At the same time, if you're pushing any internet content that is promoting that kind of viewpoint, dear God, maybe it could actually help the world some.
Yeah.
I feel like we live in a world now where not only is consumerism raging forward at an uncontrollable pace, but we're also just like feeding that selfish ego more and more. The more our society, especially North American
Oh, yeah.
society and culture goes forward, the less we are the observer, the less we look at ourselves as, or the less we point to our higher self, and the more we see each other as, oh yeah, I am Scott, and I am the things that constitute my ego, and that's all I am.
Yeah.
And
you
we are-
become a character of yourself.
Yeah, our secular school system, the way our culture pushes things, we're not fighting that at all. When that's clearly
we're
necessary
not
for the
only
change
not
our society
fighting it,
needs.
we're enforcing it. We're like
Yeah, we're enforcing it
emboldening
ourselves.
Well,
Yeah.
we can't take the foot off the gas. To be
Yeah.
honest with you, economically speaking, like the only thing that's making our currencies valued is that people buy stuff with it. Like that's all that it is. Because
Yeah.
we left the gold standard
Stuff
a hell of a long time
that
ago.
identifies us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, because now you can buy stuff for anything we want. Like when
Yeah.
we were talking about, there's a streamer for any kind of content. We were talking about there's probably an X-Men streamer, right?
Yep.
So if you like X-Men, you can make your whole world about that.
Mhm.
If you like dogs or Alexis on Fire, you can make your whole world about either of those things.
Or both.
So a lot of people really make their whole life about dogs.
Right. So, but what I mean to say is, you can silo yourself in dog stuff, and then dog stuff is your life, right? So the things we invest in can become our identity,
yeah.
and we didn't used to have that so much. We're further.
Our identity used to be our community.
Exactly. So we used to see all walks of life more, and
That's
now
right.
we're just seeing whatever we want to see.
That's it.
Like if I decided that I was completely fascinated by microphones,
Yeah.
I went home and I just searched microphones all day, watched videos about microphones on YouTube all night long.
Sounds
I wake
awesome.
up tomorrow, everything is microphones. My
Yeah.
whole world is about microphones now, right? I come in next week to the podcast and I'm just spouting microphone facts for an hour and a half. And Kevin is like, "Are you all right?" But I won't even stop because I'm just so consumed with microphones.
Yeah, I'd be
So,
excited about it.
I got
I'd
a
love that
microphone on
conversation.
my shirt. Right? It's anything though. It
Yeah.
could be couches too.
I have a surprisingly valuable parallel for this exact thing. So I have a friend of mine. So I'm an electrician by trade. I've got a friend who we actually went to school together back in the day. He's kind of moved from electrician more to custom programmer for a lot of agricultural barn systems. And he's self-taught all over YouTube. And he's the kind of guy, even if it's not necessary for work, he'll still be up late watching YouTube videos on how to program this one little chip and solder these complex boards together. And just yesterday, he sent me a text message with how frustrated he is with the politics he encounters in these videos. So all these tech videos, all these electronics videos, somehow have this like sexist political dogma running parallel to them, not by nature of the content, because the content itself is completely neutral. There's nothing culturally oriented when it comes to building a circuit board to control shit scrapers and fans and vents.
Yeah.
But somehow there is a culture built up in this one very niche demographic that just has a certain right-wing politics, a certain sexist dogma, a variety of little things that he's just sick of.
So certain things probably more people are interested than others, like, and the demographic that's interested in that might be wholly male.
That's right.
Right.
That's right.
So then female viewership will be less, and so then it will be shown to less females naturally.
Yeah.
And
Well,
then it takes on a premise that it didn't intend to.
Yeah, I'm just pulling numbers out of my ass, but let's say 37 to 48-year-old male blue collar demographic, someone who spends all of their time making and reviewing videos about circuit boards likely is not an extrovert who spends all of their time in the evenings socializing. It's likely
it has a natural bend.
Yeah, there's a natural curve there.
But you
that
see this
takes
in
you a certain
anything.
place. Absolutely.
Because like even my posts on Instagram, I can see who's liking them. And it's interesting is actually more women are liking my posts than men. However, I have something like 59% male followers versus female. So more men find it interesting, but more women engage with the content.
You might know this statistic
It's
already, but do you think that more men might just scroll through
For
quicker,
sure.
might follow you and then not look at it?
I think that men don't consume the way women do.
Yeah, because I'm not active. Like, I'll follow a bunch of people. I follow you, but I might like one of your things once
For sure.
a week, because I only see one of your things once a week.
Yep.
Because I'm not a scroller.
I think women are more interested in liking things because
they want to get
women
involved.
And also women are marketed to more. Like
fair.
when you look at most of what's sold online is for women, like clothing and stuff like this. So fashion, which would be what I would be fashion or art, right?
Yep.
They're more indoctrinated all their lives to be more interested in fashion than men are.
Yeah, goodness.
Right? Go to a store and see how much clothes you see that are men's, right? There'll be the small corner of the store, men's clothing, and the rest of the store is all female clothing. And they're not doing that because men and women buy the same amount of clothing, right?
No.
They're going to have more female clothing in there because women are more likely to buy that clothing. Right?
And that's how you get women in the store in the first place, I think. Now, I'm just going to spout some sexist bullshit, but as a guy, if I walk into a store, I really, like, my wardrobe is not that complex. Either I'm buying, like, industrial work clothes or I'm buying, like, black shorts and tees.
Sure.
You know?
Yeah.
My tastes aren't that aggressive. If I walk into a store and there's a whole bunch of crazy men's clothes, I'm like, I'm just going to leave now.
Yeah.
When I think from the female perspective, they want to walk in and see a larger selection. I think that's what draws them in, whereas for me, a giant
like
selection
shopping.
isn't. Yeah,
But
I
mean,
don't enjoy it. So
as I say, it's about what we're fed all our lives,
That's right.
Men are groomed to go one way, and women are, and some people are trying to destroy that with all this, like the war on gender identity, and trying to kind of get things back to 50-50 to some extent. I don't think you can do it.
Let's all be individuals, but also all be the same.
Yeah, let's all be the same but different, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. And I don't think you can do that. I don't think that if you flatten all those differences, I don't know, like, I think we'll just keep pulling anyway. Like, if we were to go and level everything to center again between men and women, I think that you would still have they would kind of veer off. And
We're still different.
You'd need to constantly level it, because if you didn't keep it there, but enforce it to stay there, you would have men going off this way and women going off this way. I think, just because.
And these are all just averages. Because of course, we as individuals can land wherever we want on the scale, and that's kind of the point.
Yeah.
The point of individualism is you can choose to lean certain ways with your personal preferences without being penalized for it, and that's where equality is getting us miles ahead.
Yeah.
However, in enforcing those things actually can infringe on our individuality.
Yeah, I think so too. When you start saying it's okay for everything, then all of a sudden the guy who's been kind of unique in that has his territory encroached upon, right? It's like, whoa, this is my thing.
Yeah. If you're increasing your freedoms, that's one thing. If you're increasing your freedoms, but the cost is enforcing those freedoms on people who don't necessarily want to change, suddenly you have an issue.
Yeah, you can't make people change.
That's right. That's right.
You have to. You can encourage them to,
but give them that space to be whoever the fuck they want to be on that Wednesday. Well, suddenly you are allowing more freedom.
It's like a great way I've always thought of, like, so I can say, oh, I really like your clock on your knee, like the tattoo, but people would look at me and go, yeah, all your tattoos are black. You probably don't like anything else, right? It's like, no, this is just for me, right? Like, I'm not saying everyone should have blackout tattoos.
That's right.
I think that everybody should do what they do and do it well. You know, like, if Kevin likes Japanese tattoos and he got a Japanese bodysuit, I could admire the craftsmanship of that.
Of course.
But I don't want it for me. And that's not because I can't have it now. You know what I mean? Like, I would go back in time and put that on me. But I can see someone I know with a well-executed style of tattooing and appreciate that for what it is.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean everybody needs to have it, though. You know what I mean? Like, it's like saying that this is the way we should be, and then everyone should do it.
That's right.
Then that's not interesting anymore. It's not as interesting to me if Kevin has a full Japanese bodysuit, if you and I do too. Like, because then it's less of a story. It's less, I don't know if that. I was telling Sarah about her witch on her arm, and I'm like, there's no way you want that witch as much if next week you see 5 girls with the same one.
That's exactly
like, it makes it less interesting.
And that's kind of that's one of the things we face on a daily basis here as a tattoo shop. We're constantly steering people away from the most trendy thing.
That one
lion that right now it's that tree sleeve or that infinity symbol or that flock of birds flying out from wherever. Whatever it is, people are constantly coming in asking for the latest big thing that 9,000 other people have on Pinterest. And we're going, I'm not saying no.
Yeah.
But let's pick something that's a little more unique.
So the only thing that I would be curious about is, like, because there is the survival mechanism thing, right?
Sure.
So, like, the zebra experiment, where if you put a red dot on a zebra, that zebra is the first one to die.
Yeah.
Because lions will target it.
Yeah.
The whole reason that zebras have all the stripes is so that you can't get individually marked out, right? Just why if something's injured, lions go after the injured one first because they are the odd man out.
Sure.
So there is potential that when something gets popularized, people that want to be grouped in with that group would want the identifying marks of that group in order to not be the odd man out.
It's easier if you have tattoos, if they're culturally digested tattoos.
Sure. Yeah.
This is how clothing brand works.
Yep.
Yeah. Because, like, for you, not to say that this is not a negative, but you are the odd man out.
Sure.
Like, and you have to technically deal with the bombardment of negativity for being the odd man out.
Only online.
Well, but that's where you're going to get it, right?
I am telling you, man, when I go out, it is not like that.
Of course not.
Like, all I get is like buff dudes giving me head nods. Like, you know, the head nod, and I get like girls, I love your tattoos. Like, that's what I get when I go out. I never get anything negative.
But that's because you're not, like, I feel like we're less trained to do that culturally in the real world because we've, like, I think if you were to go back far enough, we'd have less encounters with people that are different than us. Right?
Yeah.
Whereas as culturally society has moved forward, we have more and more cultures. Like we're biodiverse when it comes to the outside world, right?
Yep.
So we now know how to engage culturally because slowly that has taken place. Even though obviously there's lots of areas of the world that this is not the case, and small cultural differences lead to genocide. So, but in this respect, it's like we haven't had that online. So now all of a sudden we're getting the reverse of that that training. So it's like all of a sudden you get this person that's the odd man out. There's something that sparks in people to be viscerally distant to that person, because that's basically what they're doing, right? Like they're putting down a comment of like, "Oh, this is gross," which means that I'm not in that, right?
Yeah.
If I'm ascribing myself to not that tribe. So it's like if you are the odd man out, and this includes all celebrity being the odd man out, you can be viscerally at that person. But if that person is liked and a part of this cultural group, you have to be vehemently for that person.
I think people must think it's mental illness or just some callous nature that you would know that was going to happen and just do it anyway. Because people don't understand how I can just like, what are you going to do? Like, I don't care.
I have another Scott randomly guesses at demographics point to make here.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
I feel like there's a very clear divide between people. There are the individuals who are out at the bar. They might see you at the bar or in public or grocery shopping and give you the nods and the high fives and the kudos for your personal journey, your tattoos, the look, the attitude, whatever. They might all be very supportive. I think they're very distinctly on the other side of the line from the people who are sitting at home on their computers spouting negative shit and trolling your content.
Who are these people? Like,
exactly.
Do they ever engage in normal life anymore?
And how do they engage in normal life? Are they at the bar coming up and being like, hey, let's engage? No, they're sitting in the corner of the bar kind of grumpy. Their partner wanted to go out tonight, so they're sitting at the bar because their partner wants to be there, and they're kind of sour, and they're fucking with the mint leaves in their mojito, and...
They ordered a mojito? That's classy.
That's what I'm saying. No, because you drag this stubborn-ass person to the bar, and they're not stoked to be there. They're just going to drink some sweet bullshit drink.
This is it. Like, I know I don't want to ever be that guy. So here's who I was at earlier points in my life. Mike. I was the kid when I was 16. I was playing DDR at the mall, stomping around on DDR pads. I did that for a couple years, right? I got really good at that. I loved it. Then later in life, for 5 years, every Wednesday I went and sang karaoke, right? I got up and I often would be the first one to sing, and they gave me a nickname, Helvis, because I had a big pompadour and I always sang Frank Sinatra, Elvis, different shit.
Awesome.
Right. I did this for a long time. And now I don't do that anymore, but now I'm Remy on Instagram and TikTok and all. What I want to be always doing is doing new things, cool things, interesting things, sticking shit through my nose, doing a Utilad video. Just like, life can be so interesting. There's so much shit you can do.
And learn.
Right? And learn. And like I was talking to a buddy the other day, he's like, hey, you should come do kickboxing. Right? And I'm like, I'm not going to say yes right now, but it's definitely not a no. Like, I just want to keep doing new stuff.
I feel like the jewelry and martial arts are not a great
They're not,
combo.
but like just the learning aspect. I don't want to be in fights all the time.
No.
But like just taking in new information. Like I was saying, hey, I'd like to start going to the gym one day. Just keep doing new stuff. Don't sit at home and attack random strangers. Like, that's the worst way to waste your life.
Not waste your life, ruin your life.
But
you're just focusing the negativity. It's like a swirl of crap.
There's so much shit you could do. Even if you're going to do it online, there's so much shit you could do. You could go hang out with Shark Girl.
Yeah,
but those things aren't safe, right?
Yeah.
Like, I think that's the like the reclusing thing becomes...
She's not actually a shark, bro.
No. She's not going to get you. She's not going to get you.
What does the name mean? She's a shark girl.
But I was really buying it.
Yeah. I figured that's how she knew so much about sharks.
She spent some time living with the sharks.
But you know what I mean, though, right? Like, if you're trying to maintain a place of safety, you don't do those things. That's why I think people hate on the entrepreneurship part of it, too.
Yeah.
Because it's you putting yourself out there, which is dangerous. Like, and I'm not talking actually dangerous, but in terms of what our brain views as dangerous and is trying to keep us alive.
It's still risk.
Yes.
It's still accepting a risk of your own personal financial security, the risk of taking on debt to invest in yourself.
Yeah.
Is
Like we talked about
dangerous.
this.
Yeah.
Like the fear of branching off and like banking on yourself. Like,
I mean, I've done a career change at least twice for that reason.
Yeah.
And I've changed employers a couple times for that reason.
Yeah.
Where I decided that with this employer, with this industry, I just wasn't learning as much as I wanted to, and it was time for a switch.
yeah.
Well, we fear what? We fear what happening? Like what's the worst that happens? We die? What is
Yeah.
what is
We're all
the
gonna die
worst?
anyway.
We're all
Man,
gonna die.
People are real scared of that thing, though.
People,
I'm not. I don't understand why it's so terrifying.
that's one of the biggest illnesses in our culture, in my opinion. This is just an opinion thing, but it's one of the biggest illnesses in our culture is the fact that we've somehow lost touch with the fact that we're all going to die.
Yeah.
People talk about death as if it's this impossible thing to reconcile, and we have this relationship with it as such that if your dog, child, grandma, whatever dies, you're somehow supposed to be traumatized for the rest of your life. Like, our culture just seems to push that forward where you're almost frowned on for not being traumatized.
Yeah.
For losing
You're
someone
so cold.
to a very natural and inevitable part of life.
We do this with everything. Everything that leaves us is all of a sudden it has to be horrible.
Yeah.
Like I see people trashing their exes that they spent years loving.
Right. That's
And
the one that gets me the worst.
It really annoys me because I am hurt in the moment, but I'm more happy that happened.
I mean, I still have at least one.
There's only
ex
one
I'm
for
kinda,
me that
yeah,
I'm
that I'm
like,
kind of furious at, but we're still on speaking terms.
Yeah.
I still speak to her at least a couple of times a year.
But like it's not a waste in my opinion.
No, exactly. Oh, it's still a very valuable time in my life.
Yeah. So like, just because something ends doesn't mean it isn't valuable.
That's right.
And that's what people fear death, like it's going to invalidate them.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if I die, everything I'm doing doesn't matter or didn't matter. It's like, no, it still mattered.
Yeah. Yeah.
It mattered as much as you wanted it to. Right?
And does enjoying it, is just enjoying your life for the moment and being glad that you are alive, is that somehow not enough?
I think for some people it has to be about more than that. They have
Yeah.
to have something set in stone that they accomplish.
Mm-hmm.
And but then once they get there, then they need something else.
Well,
right?
of course.
Like,
That's
it
how
doesn't
our
end.
monkey brains are wired.
It's not just like,
We're wired to never be
well,
satisfied.
I lived 60 years. I did the thing. Rape or take me.
Yep. The biggest lie you can tell yourself is that when you get what you want, you'll finally be happy.
That's where I was started out with this, with the caption last week. I'm like, I'm kind of done, sort of, maybe, but I'm not done because I don't really want to be.
That's right.
And there's still things to do. But like, people are like, when is it over? When are you finished? It's like, finished. I'm not dead. Like, you're not taking a cake out of the oven. You're not going to serve me now. Like, this isn't over. What's over?
Well, it's interesting too because it's like that's the only area that we embrace finitism or like things having an end. Like because the results or the product versus the process thing, right?
Yeah.
Because like if your life is a process, that's hard,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like that's hard for people to wrap their minds around because like we value product usually, right? So if anything, I think that's one of the interesting things about the religion part of it that comes into it, where it's like the product is the infinite life thing, right? Which is hilarious because that would be infinite process.
That's where I'm like,
Right?
which is bored. Like I've always said, isn't that boring?
Yeah, like as if it's like, oh, you get there and then you just kind of bask in glory, I guess. I don't know, but like what the
Bask in glory.
what the
That
ask
sounds
is
delicious.
like we want to continue doing the thing that we're doing
Yeah.
in a different way, but we tend to live our lives valuing only getting a product, right?
It's the
Only
most
having the thing
judgmental
complete.
thing too. Like, because I was with my son's mother was very Christian, and I'm not against that necessarily. But my biggest problem with it was like, So we're together our whole lives. We both die. You don't have any memory of me.
Yeah.
I'm rotting in hell.
Yeah.
This is okay with you? Like, how is this okay? And she was always just kind of like,
It doesn't have to be okay if it's God's plan and therefore the natural law.
sure.
Because in a universe where God exists, whatever God says is just is and is universal law and the way it just works.
But I'm like, she won't have any memory of me, so she can't miss me, but I'll have memory of her. So, like,
And it'll torment you.
I'm supposed to be burning in hell thinking of her floating on a cloud,
Yeah.
hanging out with angels,
Yeah.
and listening to harp music, like floating in the clouds. Like,
See,
what is happening here?
The weirdest part, though, is that, like, even though obviously anybody that's talking about this in, like, belief structure would think of themselves in the positive, right? Most people are going to be like, oh, heaven and hell. Yeah, I'm in heaven. It's rarely going to be like, oh, yeah, no, eternal torment. That's me.
That's me, yeah.
So it's like, but either way, you have the finite is still removed. You know what I mean? Like that issue of this being the one shot that you got is still not there. You still have hope that the finite is infinite.
Classic cognitive dissonance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like, I mean, that's not true of every religion, obviously, but there is some discomfort in how because and how many people, if that thing was removed, would they live their lives differently? If you didn't have the existential promise of infinite, would you make that drastic change and then bet on yourself and live your life different and go travel the world? And like, would those things affect you differently in how you view your time here?
The problem is we're all in the Western world born into a Christian nation. Whether we believe it or not,
Yeah.
we've been raised with this
That value
idea
structure.
of heaven is looming.
Yeah.
Whether we believe it fully or not, it has instructed us, right? So,
We celebrate Christmas.
right,
That in itself.
right.
That-
And I love Christmas, but I know it's bullshit. Like, I bought it. I bought it hook, line, and sinker. That it is what it is, right? Like, I put up the tree. I love the Santa Claus stuff. I love Krampus. I love all of it. I'm like,
You be a
Classic
Krampus guy.
Krampus.
I'm a really festive guy when
Yep.
it comes to Christmas. Like, I'll be wearing a Santa Claus hat in a few months here.
Naturally.
For sure.
There'll be a
Like a-
candy cane in
Oh.
one of your orifices.
At least one, maybe. Yeah, at least maybe 3.
Yep.
Who knows?
Who knows?
Maybe that super big one. I found a giant one, and I was having fun. I had it in my nose, and I'm licking it through my lip. Like, it was pretty sinister stuff. It tore up TikTok for a minute, but
I don't doubt that. Went to town on TikTok.
people were,
TikTok
these
town.
make great Christmas cards. I'm like, yeah, send them to your grandma,
Yeah,
right? It's a
grandma's gonna
deranged
love it.
guy licking a candy cane hanging out of his nose.
Don't
That'd
worry,
be-
he has tattoos on his face.
Yeah.
Grandma's favorite.
Yeah.
Yeah, Merry Christmas, Grandma.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, all of this is like, it should play counter to what people would think, because people wouldn't imagine that I would love or celebrate Christmas, right? They would think that I'd be like burning an upside down cross or something, you know, with like crazy black eyes or something, right? Like, but I'm not that guy at all. I'm not dark, evil, anything like that, right? I love Christmas. I buy tons of Christmas shit for people. I make Christmas cookies, and you know, I've really bought Christmas.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes sense seeing that Christmas was invented to help draw the pagans into accepting Christianity.
Sure.
So it kind of makes sense that here we are as pagans being like, fine, I'll go along with this one. This makes me
Yeah.
feel good.
I get gifts? Cool.
Yeah. Why not?
Yeah.
I mean, I grew up with no Christmas, and now I more tolerate it. But I mean, I love to make a turkey.
Sure.
I love to microdose
There's-
around
yeah.
family and friends. There's a lot. I love to put some Jameson and Bailey's in my
Sure.
coffee on a Wednesday morning. So like, there's lots of great things about Christmas that I can, get on board with.
I think part of what people get out of Christmas is a forced reason to be closer.
Yeah.
Like, because everybody gets together more at Christmas. That's the
Mm-hmm.
idea, right? Or if you're single, it magnifies your depression, right? Well, it was really bad for my father. He would go into these deep depressions around Christmas, and you just wouldn't hear from him.
Yeah.
And winter in general was bad for him.
Yeah.
And,
Bad for a lot of people.
well,
I wonder
sure.
what this winter's going
Bad
to
for
be like.
most people's dads.
Oh,
Like, this summer was rough for people.
Oof.
Yeah, the winter's gonna be
Oh.
cold this year
It's gonna be nuts.
for sure.
I missed my festivals and events this summer for sure.
But
Missed
I always
everything.
felt like Christmas was like put a magnifying scope on like happiness or negative feelings, right?
Yeah.
Where it's like if you're up, you'll be up higher, and if you're down, you're going lower, right? Because it's for everyone down here, they're being inundated with family values and warmness and
Yeah.
closeness, and gifts and blah blah blah, and they're getting none of this.
Yeah.
So they're coming down farther, and they're envying these people over here.
And there's a parallel with people's financial security too.
Oh, for sure.
The people who are already financially stable going into that season are like, oh, look, I budgeted and it was totally fine, and my mental health is totally sweet with all of this.
Yeah.
And people who are already suffering financial anxiety enter this season already stressed, already worried, and now their finances are
Yeah,
just
they're
despicable.
running up credit cards to buy gifts. and
That's
stuff,
right.
Well, the social expectation part is, I think, what gets in both areas. It kind of hoops you because it's like we're expected to be joyful and triumphant, and if you're not, well, change that because
Yeah.
this is joyful, triumphant time.
Yeah.
Be happy or fuck you.
And then also get into massive debt.
Yeah.
Like, hey,
Tis the season
you're
for
already in
massive
debt. You're already in debt. Well, put on more, man.
you better buy lots of alcohol.
Time to
'cause
mortgage-
Uncle
remortgage your
Johnny
house.
is coming and he drinks a lot and he's not bringing his own.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
buy that liquor.
Yeah, I remember like because I used to sell guitars and things like that, and they would always come out with it was like a 90-day zero payment
Sure.
thing
Ugh.
at the Christmas time where it's like, okay, you don't pay for 90 days. It's like, oh, guess what? Day 91 sucks.
I'm seeing so many online stores are doing financing for hoodies and stuff now.
Yeah.
Oof.
Like, holy crap, man. We're taking loans on everything.
That's the whole economy's on the card, basically.
It's insane.
Yeah.
$58 or 4 easy payments of $17 kind of thing. And you're like, what?
Well, I mean, I think you're going to see more and more things move towards this subscription plan because it's like,
a
it's like,
subscription hoodie? Really?
You
Well,
gotta pay for this hoodie
but-
$1 a month
but at
forever.
the same
Lord.
time, think about that. If you have an essentials plan with some company, because this is what everybody's pitching now, where it's like, oh, we do all of these things, and every time it comes into the fall, you're going to get a new hoodie.
That feels
every
so
time it-
wasteful.
But yes, 100%. But they don't care about that because all it's going to cost you is $8.99. $8.99 a month, and every month we're going to send you one piece of essentials, and sometimes it might be socks, and sometimes it might be a hoodie, and that's financing.
Yeah.
You're financing your purchases.
Well, you see
and
this with
in a way that's manageable, or
There's
they've
a-
decided is manageable.
there's
Yeah.
a dog food and toy company called BarkBox. I don't know if you heard of them.
I'm
They
familiar
send
with
you
it.
a package like every month.
Yep.
I don't
And
even
it's
have a
like-
dog and I've seen that.
It's like, geez, like what the fuck's going on? Everything's subscriptions now. Everything.
Well, it puts a lot of things that if you look at the value of them to pay for ahead of time. So it's like if you were to bundle all those things and you say you're paying for this thing for a year, that looks unattainable to most people, right? Because it's like, okay, this is gonna be $10 a month for 12 months. Give me $120 right now. Whoa, $120? Hang on now. Okay, you could pay me $10 a month.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You
Like,
get enough of those, and before long, your whole bank account is.
that's exactly
You know,
right. And
drip
you
feeding.
have a ton of subscriptions that you forgot about, and they just are all. It's death by a
Some of them
thousand
are kind of
cuts.
hard to cancel too. Like I was
Oh,
trying
I
to
know.
cancel
So
one the
hard to
other day,
cancel.
and I'm like, "What the hell? Just let me out of this
I'm
thing."
trying to cancel one right now, and it is being a pain in the ass.
And they're actively like trying to discourage you, and it's,
Yep.
hey, you need to do this first, and this thing, and this, and it's like, okay, this was built to keep me on,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
It's a million redirects, and
I have one on investing.com. And you can, and just to get off the emails, not even to cancel paying them, just get off the emails. You got to scroll down, press the unsubscribe. You get into their thing, type in your email address, and then they send you an email 20 minutes later.
Sure.
You got to go click a link within 10 minutes.
yeah,
Oh, seriously?
Yeah, so
Ooh, that's
you have to set a reminder or
nefarious.
something so you don't forget about it. I tried 3 or 4 times
Wow.
before I successfully unsubscribed from a stinking email.
That's
testing
crazy.
your attention. Your attention span, right?
Yeah,
like
oh,
you get
exactly.
distracted with something, or it'll take too long, and you'll be like, "Ah, God, it's only $6. I'll get it next month."
That's it. That's
right?
it.
And then they're doing that to how many people, right?
Oh,
how many
goodness.
people they're going to get till next month, and
Yeah.
it's actively dissuading you from canceling.
Which the interesting thing is, like, I would be more likely to get back in with the company if they made the leaving it process easier.
Yeah, of course.
Like, if it was
you're
like-
not scared of it, you don't
Yeah.
have shell shock.
It's like with canceling memberships and things like that. If you're going to be like, oh, okay, you got to do X, Y, Z, then I'm never coming back to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you've made this experience painful, why in the world would I give
yeah.
you my
Yeah.
future business?
Yeah.
Like, I understand the idea that they had to set up these deterrents to leave because they want to try and retain business. But, like, if you want repeat customers, which you should, putting those blockades in front of them is like, then hell no, ever
Yeah.
again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't even care if I actually need your service. I'm not going to do it
Yeah.
because you are just salting the wound.
Yeah. I've already decided I'm unhappy with this.
I'm
Yeah.
trying
And now
to
you're
go, and
horrifying
you're not
me.
letting me.
Or
Yeah.
like financially. If you're getting people that are canceling because financially they can't handle it, when they're in a place where they can handle it, if you're going to make it harder on them,
They're not coming back.
they're not coming back ever.
Forget it.
This is like Sam Harris' podcast. He never wanted to run ads,
Yeah.
so he decided to go with a subscription. But it's like this weird model where if you can't pay the amount a month, you can email the show and get your payment to $1 a month or something. I'm like,
Yeah.
this is just, it's so wacky. It's so much like, we'll work with, you're haggling with the guy. Like, I can't even imagine doing this. It just sounds excruciating to me.
Well, I think one of those like
Some people want that though.
Oh, I know. They love haggling. My
Yeah.
wife used to run thrift store.
Yeah.
And guys would come in all the time and, I don't know if I'll give you 10. I give you about 4. It's like the price is 10. Like this isn't a garage sale.
Storefront, dude.
do that anywhere else.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Go into Walmart. Try that.
Yeah.
I don't know if I want to pay full price for this chicken.
Does this sign say eBay?
This chicken looks like it's worth about $6.
Yeah.
Can go. You know.
But at the same time, I don't know. Maybe we just inflate all the prices and then everybody can haggle.
I mean, that's a more interesting world.
Right?
Far less efficient.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Everything's so expensive on the tag.
Yeah.
You want to go buy milk and eggs?
Yeah.
Oh, forget it.
Yeah,
It's
it'll
gonna
be a
take an
half hour
Yeah.
at least.
Oh, man.
But I think, like, I don't know.
Cashiers have a psychology degree to help haggle. It's going to be a great time.
Yeah, all of a sudden they're getting paid $58 an hour to just.
Yeah. The job of cashier is no longer entry level.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you can tip them to get better prices.
Ooh, I like that.
They don't actually make any hourly wage.
Yeah, it's all based
It's
on
more of
tips.
an auctioneer thing where
Yeah.
they get tipped for how good of prices they gave you.
They get a percentage of the overage that you paid from the cost of it. He paid 80% over cost, so you get 8%.
Good Lord.
Now you're talking.
Right? That's
Now
pure
you're
capitalism
talking.
right there.
Let's start a new big box store.
Yep.
Yep.
Big
gonna be
box of
great.
deals.
So what
With
are you
only the
working on
cheapest clientele.
tattooing today?
Today I am
I meant to ask you
tattooing
earlier.
some black and gray. Oh man, it is a classic example of 10 pounds of shit in a 5-pound bag.
Uh-huh.
It's a bunch of things I would love to do. Realism compass.
Sure.
Realist, like cool black and gray nautical style map. A dove. However, it's a thin fit female who already has a tattoo here, and she wants it right
All right.
here.
So it's gonna end up looking like Super Mario kind of thing. Everything's
yeah,
gonna be like this big.
that's the trick.
Yeah.
So that's today.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
you're excited.
Oh, so excited! It's gonna be great.
That's one of the hard, like, why? This is just me because like
It's
I've
just
never
typical
had
of
an.
Lethbridge.
But it's not just Lethbridge, I think. Like, because otherwise you wouldn't see this stuff out there.
Mm-hmm.
But like, why? It could be financial, which I would totally understand. But why is it that like people are afraid to give things room?
A lot of people think they only want this much tattoo,
Right.
and they also feel like, oh well, I'm only getting tattooed once every year.
Right.
So I'm gonna go in. I'm gonna get this piece. I want to get as much stuff
Yeah.
in that piece as possible. Especially when they're looking
Wanna
at this
make a
going,
big spend.
oh well, this space is only gonna cost me $600.
So I get
So
as
let's
many
put
things.
more and more crap in there. But what they're not realizing is that if I have to tattoo a compass and a map and a dove and make them work together, my design time goes up. Oh, and she wants script in it too.
She wants to
she
push
she
this, yeah.
she wants like a dozen words crammed in there somewhere. So all of a sudden, I'm doing 9 tattoos in a small space, and it's actually taking me longer.
Yeah, of course.
Because all my shapes are teeny weeny. At no point do I actually have room to make any large shapes. So everything I'm kind of like fucking around. It actually takes just as long as doing all those things bigger.
Yeah, you could make a whole
Yeah.
sleeve out of this lower arm.
And suddenly I'm
Yeah, it'd
looking
be a
at
dope sleeve too.
suddenly I'm looking at it putting an $800 tattoo in this 9 square inch space, which doesn't like suddenly they're upset paying that much for a small tattoo.
Yeah, of course.
They've put a lot of pain and overworked this area a little bit. And I had one more thing to say here, but it's fucking gone now.
Well, and like too much detail in one area is not going to age super
Oh,
great.
that's the other
gonna
one.
look muddy.
Yeah, it's just busy. When you see a striking
You need
tattoo
some-
on the internet,
Yep.
it's
Yeah.
never 90 things crammed in here. It's
You need
stuff
some
that
time
has
to breathe.
room. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's stuff that flows well. It's stuff that fits your body well.
You'll never see that in a healed photo. I'll say that.
That's right,
Like
exactly.
you'll see those things in a fresh tattoo, but you'll never see a 4 years later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When I push back on
Looks like a mashed potato.
Seriously,
Yeah.
like
when I push back on someone's tattoo idea, sometimes I feel bad because they often think I'm being rude or something, especially by text. When you're communicating by text or DM, whatever.
Well, they can see the
it always
smile
comes
or-
across. Yeah, it always comes across more rude, and they think I'm being kind of a dick. But really, I promise you, what I want is to do work I'm proud of, that I can post on the internet, and everyone go, "Wow, that's incredible."
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if I'm giving you feedback like, "Man, I do not love that idea,"
yeah.
it's only because this idea is not pushing the right buttons to be a mind blower tattoo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not checking the right boxes for me to stand back and go, "Oh my god, I can't wait to post this."
I've seen people where they'll get mad when a tattoo artist doesn't post the work they did on them.
Yeah,
It's like,
yeah.
that's because they don't want more of that coming.
That's right.
Like, they don't want more of that.
Yeah, they're trying to
Like-
advertise
like-
a stream here.
Even when Lee and I were talking, he's like, Jamie thinks I should post you a little bit more often. And I was like, I get why you don't.
Yeah.
Like, when he was working on me lots, I was like, you don't want to be doing this all the time.
no.
Like,
You want to do
doing
this
it
every
for
once in
me.
a while.
We're bros. It's
Yep.
fine. But, like, this isn't what you want to specialize in.
Mhm.
So I get it.
Yep.
I'm surprised he ever posted me. I never asked him to. I mean, it was cool when he did. Like, it
Yeah.
was like a, hey, that's cool. But, like, I'm fine with, like, if it's not your specialty or something you want to be going farther into,
Yeah.
why would you be posting it?
Yeah, it's
Because
crazy.
you're just going to, you're signaling to the guys that like blackout at that point,
Yeah.
come to me, I'm the blackout person, right? And if you don't want to be doing that, then why would you be posting that?
Yeah, then what's
It's-
your plan?
It's counterproductive.
Yeah.
Because you should be building a profile to attract prospective business, right? So you don't want to be putting up junk tattoos and you're sending
No.
a flag out to people,
And I
hey,
don't-
I'm putting up junk tattoos. Come
Yeah, I
get
don't
'em
like to
from
think
me.
I'm doing any junk tattoos per se. Everything I
Right.
get presented, I
But
hammer
you
it
know
out.
what I mean, though.
But
like,
right now, 60% of what I do is this like kind of fine line floral style thing that I'm making my own, but it's not my plan. Like I'm not planning on continuing this indefinitely.
what is your stylistic plan?
Oh, black and gray realism, like
Yeah, 'cause
all the way.
I'd seen a cool Viking one you did the other day.
Yeah, that's the one. That's the thing.
That was really cool.
Yeah,
There's
that was
lots
yesterday.
Of detail. Lots
Yeah.
of detail.
So much detail.
Yeah.
Yeah, that back piece. We're about 10, 11 hours in so far, and that's gonna be a good 30 to 40 hour back piece.
Is
Yeah, I
that the
was gonna say
biggest
it's
piece
not-
you've worked
not gonna
on
be a
so
joke.
far, or
Yeah, actually, yeah, he's probably in the race for finishing the biggest piece yet.
has it been intimidating for you?
No.
No.
This
Some
would be
people
great.
find it really like
No.
hard
This,
to get into bigger work.
no, he walked in and said, "I want my back done,"
Yeah.
and he's someone I've known for a couple years now, like
Okay.
as a tattoo client. He walked in and said he wants his back done, and he said some Viking shit, some blah blah blah. He had a couple ideas like Viking, let's go. And
Sure.
I've planned it from day one. I sent him the references. He said, yes, do it. So it's all my plan, all my idea, and I'm going to make it as awesome as I can.
You see some people where they're working on tattoos that are like this big, and
Yeah.
then they get to about this big, and then they never really get any bigger than that.
That's right.
It's like a fear of the unknown, or like, how am I gonna make something that could hang on a wall?
Yeah.
Like a whole image, right? like a big painting.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's just hard for some people to imagine. And
Exactly.
how it flows together. And
When it'll take me 3 hours, but I've got no problem printing off 10 different stencil papers and taping them together and figuring them out.
yeah,
Like I'll do it. I make it frustrated halfway through, but I'll still fucking do it.
it's like my front piece was like that. Like it was
Yeah.
like the guy who did it was like almost dizzy looking at me sometimes. Like he'd look at me, then he'd grab a bottle of water and sit down, and like it was almost like he had worked up a sweat mentally.
Yeah.
Just like,
Yeah.
how am I gonna? What's my approach today? It's like, where do I?
Well, I think there's also like a
And then he's never worked on anything that size since.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
just
and
exhausted.
I'm done.
it's like shit. I can't do this.
Well, we never really finished it.
No, that's true. I mean, you're finishing it now, technically.
Yeah.
But like, I think there's also something about like there's probably a few hangups. One, completing something in one sitting. I know a lot of people would be apprehensive about that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I understand it because the demand from the client a lot of the times is to have like, can we get this done in one session?
Oh,
It's
yeah.
like, what? Like that's your expectation? Just to have this? And you know, a lot of the things that they will bring in for like, say someone's like, oh, I want to do a sleeve. Can I do a sleeve today? And it's like, oh, you don't understand what any of that means. Like you have multiple sessions to do this.
This is, again, toxic social media.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
and like a lot of people will only show the completed image, right?
Yep.
It's like, oh, or I'm going to post this on its last day. I'm not going to post it when it's like ghost lined out. Like the amount of people that are going to actually show that is very low.
Mm-hmm.
It's like when we first started my blackout legs and I just had that one spot.
Yeah.
I posted that and I had people like, well, that looks stupid. It's like, yeah, check back with me in a few months.
Yeah.
You people have no vision. That's the problem. People don't have vision. You need vision when you start big projects.
Yeah.
You can't just like, oh, it didn't look right the first day.
Yeah.
You
bummer.
have to keep going, and it has to take time to develop.
Yeah. But I mean, again, we're going to probably roundabout on this a few times of like the valuing the process or the product. If you just want the product, the process is going to seem like an inconvenience.
We live in a one marshmallow world. So there's a psychological test you can can do on any child, which is you give them an hour, you walk in, you set a marshmallow on a plate in front of them.
Sure. If they don't
And
eat
say, if you don't eat this for an hour, you get 2 marshmallows.
Yeah.
If you eat this, you just get 1 marshmallow.
sure.
You know, or use whatever candy actually interests them.
Smarties
And
or-
some children right off the hop, without training it into themselves, are already 2 marshmallow kids. Some are 1 marshmallow kids. We live in a very 1 marshmallow world where everyone wants it and they want it now. I want success, but I don't want to have to work for it.
Yeah.
I want money, but I think someone should probably just give it to me.
Yeah.
Sure.
I want financial stability, but I don't want to have to learn any tangible skills that are marketable.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I think I heard of a similar test they did where they asked a bunch of people if you could go and spend 2 weeks at your second favorite place in the world, or tomorrow you could go and spend a night at your favorite place in the world. Almost everybody chose to go to their favorite place for one night.
Really?
Yeah, it's like you would rather have the memory
Weird.
Of the best.
of the best.
That's
than
insane.
The more memories of second best. It's weird how people will choose what's important that way, right?
Huh.
Like it's
I'm definitely a
immediate.
2-week guy.
Me too.
Yeah.
Because
Hard.
how many experiences could you have in 2 weeks versus
Oh my goodness.
one?
Yeah.
You know, but it's that short-sightedness.
I'm not even a 2-week guy. My traveling history is more of a 6-month guy thing.
Yeah, I'll just be here for a while.
Yeah, I'm gonna go develop a lifestyle over there.
Yeah.
And that's gonna be a lifetime of experience wrapped up in that 6 to 12 months, you know?
Yeah, I just think that like that win in the moment is so powerful for some people,
Mhm.
and that's where you have this girl today who wants to win in the moment.
That's right.
And then farther down the line, like that doesn't look very good, you know, or like that doesn't look the way I wanted it to,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
It should have been this or that, and now
Mhm.
you've got all these, and they're what you asked for,
Yep.
and they're done well the way you wanted,
Mhm.
but they're not
when
big
really
enough.
you'd be
and-
better off with a compass here,
right.
encompassing the entire space we had today.
Yep.
And then
Maybe
maybe,
just
a
get
dove
the compass
here and a
today.
map here. Absolutely, that'd
You know?
be the right choice.
And then
Don't be
Scott can do a
crazy.
really nice big compass on you.
Yeah.
And then we can do the next piece
Yeah.
another time.
Sometimes I wonder if we should just have like each of the components printed out in different sizes, and then like have them assemble it on the table in the way that they like it, and then just go
Like a puzzle?
Okay, yeah, because like really,
Here's your arm.
if you were to
Here's
be
these
like,
images.
yeah, and I just want it this big, and then like, okay, so this big, take a look at it and just make it the way that you think would look good,
Yeah.
and then let's look at that on your arm.
But first, I'm gonna like resize it and rasterize it over and over again, so that it's really blurry, so they can see how blurry it's gonna be after 5 years in here. When
Yeah, just-
we've put a compass that's full of fleur-de-lis and tiny designs and 400 circles, and we put it in here. Suddenly, I see the issue. Oh my God, Terry's back. Didn't see that coming.
Well, it is getting a little bit later, but
What time is it?
It's like 9:30 something.
yeah, we still got.
That's not
That's
terrible.
fine.
That's not too bad.
Oh, hey, buddy.
I've heard of worse.
But yeah, no, I think that would be a good idea. I think there should be a way to show
Welcome
what heel tattoos are gonna look like.
Yep.
Like we should
Yep.
have some technology that can show you age, like year by year, what that tattoo will look like.
The funny thing is, there's no accurate way to do that.
I know
No.
because each artist is different.
Because I have 2-year tattoos that are aging
human is
worse than my
different.
10-year tattoos. You know, just here we are.
Well, and the spots on the body, the person that put it in
That's
is
it.
a big part of that.
Yeah,
Big
and
time.
the type of ink that was used. Like there's so
Yep.
many variables.
Yep.
Like I've had, like you said, I've had some tattoos that are way older than others that look better than some
Yeah,
of the newer
absolutely.
ones.
It's crazy.
Right, this chest piece I did touch up, but I don't know that it really needed it.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas my torso needed touch-ups immediately. Right, like it was like, holy crap! We just did this? It looks like it's 10 years old.
Man, I just saw this thing. There was a girl that was showing one of them because I'm big into the single needle thing. I think it's really cool, but
Sure.
she did a good exemplification of what it looks like after a year. So she went to a very high level artist, very high level, little tiny rose in color, pink in color, and like
Single needle color.
yeah,
That's broken from the start.
Yeah.
You're going nowhere.
yeah. So
Good lord.
she
wow.
showed it a year later, just a year, which that's kind of like when the tattoo actually is settled. And it went from like she showed the picture of the initial one, and it's beautiful, perfect detail, yay big, and then a year later, it was just mild, like blotches of pink. In like you can't even really tell that it's a rose. It's just kind of like and. Man, north of $2,000 for this little thing.
Woo-wee.
North
Wow.
of $2,000.
How
And-
long did it take? Is my question.
So if I understand it correctly, he is $1,600 an hour.
Oh my goodness.
So that would mean that little rose took an hour 20, something like that. Which
That's
like
a long time for a little rose, especially for someone proficient.
it is and it isn't. Like if I understand it correctly, what he's doing is mostly like individual lines right next to each other to build
that's
the color.
what I mean. Like
So
one
it's-
line takes a long time to fill something in.
Yeah. Well, and because you'll have to do the lines, and then you'll have to go back in and crosshatch, and if you know,
I had
like,
a
there's
couple of
some-
those guys on my ankles that were little squares.
Yeah.
And each square was colored individually.
Yeah.
4-hour tattoos. They were this big.
I saw those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
And
absurd.
They were really well done, but the amount of detail is deceptive.
Yeah.
You're like, holy crap.
Yeah.
It's all fun and games until you're sitting there going, I don't want to endure this.
No.
For that.
That's not an area that you want to do that long in.
No.
You just kind of want to get in and get out on the back of your ankle.
Yeah, big time. Just tickling that Achilles for
Well,
an
I think-
entire afternoon.
I think a lot of
They
the
were hard
single...
to cover, too.
Yeah, I
They
wouldn't
were.
doubt that because you're probably chewing that area up to pretty good too.
And aggressive color.
But
so
I mean,
well
like,
saturated.
but if how many people would have really careers if what they were posting was their healed work?
Right.
You know what I
Touche.
mean? Because there's
especially weird little niche
yeah,
styles like that. Like if a trad guy could probably build a great portfolio
Yeah.
on healed
That
stuff.
stuff's built to age.
Yeah.
Yeah, because my
It's
more,
20 years old.
My more trad
Yeah.
stuff hasn't aged a day.
Yeah,
I
I
think
know.
Like, it's
old
fine.
trad has a great look. Too.
And I love the look of old trad.
Yeah, like it ages nice
Mhm.
where it's like
Yeah.
it looks different, but it looks even better.
Yep.
Almost.
Yep.
Like faded trad is a look.
I definitely want to develop my trad design skills some more and play in that arena too. Like not right now, I don't need the distraction at the moment, but someday down the line, like this is an industry you never have to stop learning in.
Yeah,
you
of
can
course.
keep learning forever. So some point, I definitely want to play in the trad realm. It's a different style of drawing, different style of tattooing. It ages differently. It's a completely different demographic. You're dealing with a whole different genre of
Yeah.
client, and it sounds like a great learning process.
Mm-hmm.
So someday I will play with that.
Yeah, I would say my favorite two styles of tattooing are black work and trad.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
but like old school traditional. I don't love neo trad much. Like,
I'm such a neo trad
I
slut.
I like it, but like it's not my favorite. My
Yeah.
favorite is I like big bold stuff. I like
Yeah.
really striking imagery. So obviously I'm blackout tattoos, but I think that's pretty striking on its own.
Mhm.
But I also think that like if I were to go a different way, it would have been like really old school American traditional. But I don't know. Like my only
They're
problem
so
with that
hit or
is
miss.
it's hard to do a one-piece bodysuit with that, right? Like, because it's all little images.
Yeah, it's
you
no-
can get
it's-
some big clipper ships and big stuff like that.
It's still
but
patchwork no matter what.
it's patchwork no matter
Mhm,
what. And what's the background? Little dots and
yeah.
stuff.
If
right?
if you start tying a bunch of traditional subjects all together into one larger piece, it's no longer traditional.
Exactly.
Because traditional was, oh yeah, I got a panther today.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I got this banner and a rose today.
So
That's
it's
just what
it's
trad
stickers.
was. It was stickers the
But
whole time.
see, I don't know. I don't want a sticker bodysuit. I want
No.
something that's gonna flow well, right?
I mean, I look like I want that. I assure you I
That's
don't.
what my legs used to be like, too.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I'm not. I have no judgment to that.
right.
Like my legs were totally just big piece, little
Yeah.
piece, big piece, little piece. You know what I mean?
Tattoos are
All
an
the way.
analogy for life. You're like, well, I tried really hard, didn't plan right, and here I fucking am.
Yeah, well, that's what my legs were too. Like
Yeah.
little bats and Dragon Balls and
Oh
a
my
candy
God.
cane and
Right.
stars and little 8-bit guys and some like a big bat face.
It
and
makes me happy.
Portraits and like just random shit. It was like going into an old bar and there's like crazy crap on the wall. Hey, look, an alligator head. Hey,
Yeah.
there's a monkey's paw. You know,
I used to
like-
love those bars so much. Like, I used to go to those kind of bars and be like, if I ever have a pub, it's going to be just like
just
this.
goofy and like there's just no rhyme or reason.
You may have been to the one in Moncton, New Brunswick that has an actual Duster airplane
I haven't
inside
been.
of it. Okay. There's one in Moncton that has a Duster airplane and like bobsleds and snowshoeing shit.
I love that
all-
stuff.
Me too. I've loved it so much, even though it's so hectic
But,
and
like,
not nice.
I have one shelf in my house that looks like that, and
Yeah.
my wife is like, things have to make sense for her. Like, if I just put something somewhere, she's like, why did you do that? I'm like, it looks good there. She's like, no, it doesn't. That doesn't look right. Because she had like she did what is it where your arrangement of things is the art form. I can't remember what it's called, but
Not
it-
feng shui.
no,
other
it's
one?
not feng shui. It's another thing.
The
But
German one.
I can't remember what it's called, but it isn't what's on the wall. It's how it's arranged.
If it doesn't work, it's malfunction.
Oh,
But so like I'll just set things in random spots, and it's just like a pet peeve for her. Like, why would you do that? I'm like, oh, I thought it looked good there. Like I just my son has like a little frame over his door, and I just set a picture of him over it. And I'm just like, that's a nice picture of him.
It
and
identifies his
there's
room.
nothing there now. This will be great. And she's just like, this is stupid. Why would you do this? And
You
I'm
should
just
put a
like,
picture of you two above your door.
I just don't get it. I don't see the problem. I honestly don't see the problem in it. And she's like, this is why you don't decorate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, you're not in control of decorations at the house.
See, I'm the kind of guy where, in my world, without outside input, I would most certainly be the guy to have 1,000 Polaroids, just on every wall, just all the time.
Ah, the
At
classic,
work, at
like,
home.
schizophrenic look. where
Yeah,
it's like you go into
Like
the
you're
house,
chasing
like,
a criminal.
Scott, what's happening in here?
That's totally that totally works for me. I love it. The
He's
fact you
hunting
can-
down a serial murderer
Yeah.
in his house. Why are there all these Polaroids?
It's all darkly lit.
Polaroids stapled to maps with strings that go across them.
Random candlesticks.
Yeah.
Just the
Yeah.
wax everywhere.
Giving up on house lighting. It's all candlelight now.
I don't know.
Newspapers from the 1920s.
Way worse than candlelight. When I went to work building wind turbines, I got used to living by headlamp. Like you start work early in the
GoPro
morning,
kind of
long
thing?
before light. Not just a headlamp on your head,
No,
and
like
you
a-
work inside a pitch black tube all day. You work in the nacelle up on the top of the wind turbine doing tiny little wire connections, often in pitch black. So you spend all day living by headlamp. And after a few months of doing this type of work, you go, fuck house lights. I'm turning off all the lights in the house. We all just wear headlamps now. It's successful. It'll be
House
fine.
lights are overrated.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
always spelunking.
So when I finally,
you.
break and you walk into my place, and it's all Polaroids with red yarn tying them all together, and I'm wearing a headlamp in the house, and all the light bulbs are unscrewed and broken on the floor.
Going
know
to
what's
Scott.
up.
Broken on the floor.
It's
Hey, we gotta go dark here.
Okay.
something that I'm always like a
why
little
you need a
curious
headlamp.
of.
Die Hard style.
I'm like a little curious of like, we all have our personalities and our quirks the way they are now.
Speak for yourself.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Well, fair enough.
I'm perfect.
If everything went dark, what happens to those? Right? Like if all of a sudden society fell apart tomorrow, like how does each person's weird personality quirks work with them and against them?
You'll be able to tell in their zombie vehicle
Yeah.
how many like spikes and turrets on the outside. That's how you'll identify their personality.
I think there's some guys that are like, they're almost waiting for it and hoping for it because their skill sets become more valuable in those cases.
Your brother.
Yeah,
He used
Dave.
to talk about this all
Dave
the
is-
time.
he still does.
He's like all the
when
time
it
he would
goes
talk
dark,
about that.
Dave, it might not go dark. When it goes
When
dark,
it goes dark, I'll be your king.
everyone will be coming to my house.
He's that intense. Yeah.
And within a week, I'll take over the neighborhood area.
Yeah.
I'm in.
It's the megalomaniacs we are working.
Yeah,
with.
oh, yeah.
That's the concern.
But during the lockdown, Lee was talking a lot about that too. When it goes dark, I'm like, yeah.
See, I have more of a Burning Man approach when it comes to those things, where it's more like,
You just wanna
hey,
be high?
let's all do radical self. Yes, let's all get high.
Yeah. So let's just be high and wait for the end to
I was
come.
gonna go with radical self-reliance.
Yeah.
But yes, I have a stash for the end of days, and I will embrace it in a haze of psychedelic glory.
I had a coworker who he went out to Banff, like the park,
Yeah.
and he buried a whole bunch of jars of peanut butter out there. And he's like, if it goes dark, I'm going back for those
I
peanut
have
butter.
a bunch of
It's
rancid
like,
peanut butter.
why just peanut butter?
Well,
this
it's high
is what
calorie.
you're gonna live on. How much peanut butter are you planning to eat?
That's not a diverse enough diet.
But like this
No.
was his grand plan. Like no one will
my
find
God.
it.
Is it freeze dried or nope? Just peanut butter.
The things that people do, right? Like this would be his doomsday scenario.
That makes as much sense
And
as
he's
that
got a
cult that was
crossbow
selling
and-
buckets of gruel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's got a crossbow and he's got a big dog and he's just like, I got a dog and a crossbow. I got my peanut butter. I'm set for the end times. It's
Unless
like,
the dog can feed on zombie flesh, how are you? Oh, the dog is the food.
maybe he's gonna eat
No.
the dog eventually, right?
You can't go to that
yes.
Wow.
No, no, no.
Dog is
that
your
is the
protector.
If we're talking end of times,
The dog is
cannibalism
your.
is on the table.
No, it's I Am Legend style. That dog is your companion.
Right.
You gotta go that.
I think
way.
eventually it's I Am Legend style, but at first there's too many people, right?
Mm-hmm.
Eventually the zombies replace
See,
the people.
That's what I enjoy with zombie movies. They're always going into the grocery store and taking food off the shelves. But in a true apocalypse,
Yeah, you
the
ain't
grocery
doing that.
stores are empty after about
Yeah.
7 hours.
Yeah, we ran out of toilet paper immediately.
Like that.
Like, that made no sense.
Before anyone sneezed.
Yeah.
Production
Toilet paper,
is-
iced tea. Like, why?
Finite.
Why are you just
man.
getting-
The least
iced
important
tea.
things. Yeah.
Like, potable water. That's more important than iced tea.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't care if you need to flavor it mildly. You might be drinking your own urine eventually. Like, you're not going to add iced tea
What's the
powder
iced
to
tea
that.
For? I mean, I
Unreal.
would. I don't have iced tea powder, but I'm gonna get some now for
Yeah,
that
for your
purpose.
pee.
I think
Iced
Yeah.
tea.
people,
That's-
people envision that we have way more stock than we actually have available.
Yeah.
Right? And they think that if things stop, we're going to be good for a couple years.
No.
We're not
No.
going to
Few
be good
weeks.
for a couple months.
Yeah,
even.
Yeah.
a few weeks, and
Yeah.
then all of a sudden, things are off the rails.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just like that.
Yeah.